My 28 male girlfriend, 28, and I have been together for 5 years. We've long talked about marriage and talked even more about future kids. She quit her job a couple of years back to pursue a medical degree. Last week, I discovered she cheated on me with an ex-boyfriend from high school. I needed to use her phone to call mine, and when I unlocked her phone, it was open to an Instagram conversation between them. I have nothing against the guy personally, but he's going nowhere in life, and I don't understand why she'd want to be with him. All he does is play video games and watch TV. Anyway, rather than sadness or heartbreak, this actually just made me angry that I put so much into this relationship and the woman that I thought would be the mother of my future children. I'm angry that I've been supporting her through college, including rent, food, and tuition. Just angry. So I arranged for a locksmith to change the locks the next day with the landlord's permission while she was at class, packed up as much of her stuff as I could find and left it outside. I texted her what I've done and said if she wanted to get anything else, I'd have her brother come and get it because I didn't want to see or speak to her ever again. Since I did this, my parents and hers have been relentlessly calling me. They said what she did is wrong, but it's no reason to throw away 5 years. And if I kick her out, she'll be forced to drop out and waste years of education. Am I the idiot for kicking out my girlfriend who was financially dependent on me without a warning? Not the idiot. I went through something similar with my ex-boyfriend. He was living with me and was basically completely dependent on me and my family. I let him stay for another 3 months. Part of me regrets letting myself be a doormat like that. I wouldn't recommend other people sacrifice their own health and well-being for someone who hurts them like that. Put yourself first. Let her parents fund her education. And what is wrong with your parents? His parents probably want grandkids and for their kids to get married, but it's so gross of them to prioritize that when there's a cheater involved. Some people believe in the sunk cost fallacy. They are scared to start a new life because they invested 5 years in this person. Do they want him to be in an unhappy relationship? Like, what the heck? Then he should point out to them that any children this woman has probably won't be his and, therefore, won't be their grandkids. Also, I bet she was gonna dump up after she graduated anyway. It was definitely part of the plan. She just couldn't bother to stay faithful long enough because she didn't even respect him. She messed around and found out. Explaining graphic detail to her parents what the cheaters did behind your back, then tell them her free ride of an education is over. If they still don't get it, let them know you now understand where she gets a lack of moral compass, or you can skip the first line unless you're petty like most of us. Good luck in your future. It will be bright without her or her family. I've 24 female been with my husband 24 for 5 years, married for almost 1. We met in college and have been together ever since, never breaking up at all. Before we got married, we always did everything 5050 except cook since he couldn't cook and still can't. We aren't rich at all, but we do well for ourselves. My husband makes 50,000 and I make 80,000. We knew we wanted kids before we were 27, but didn't expect to get pregnant so soon. We got married, and I'm already toddler, months pregnant. We found out we're having twins and are just so shocked because we've been financially expecting one and have been putting money away for daycare and other baby expenses. In our area, the average daycare price for one infant full-time is 1,400 a month. On average, some places are less and some are more, which is very pricey, but with our budgeting and savings was something we could manage on top of our other bills, and especially with both our cars being paid off earlier this year, which is a huge relief off our shoulders. But for 2, we can't afford that. Ever since we found out we're having twins, there's been so much tension and stress between us. We both agree we can't afford daycare for 2 babies, but he says I should quit my job after my paid maternity leave and stay at home with the twins until they're old enough for preschool while living off his income since he doesn't want to be a stay-at-home dad. I told him that's selfish since I make more and therefore can give a better quality of life for them and that I also don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. My job and career overall offers more growth and opportunity for financial gains than his does. I have a salary, BTO, and a 401k, and I have a great work-life balance and the ability to keep growing in my field. I love my husband and think he works very hard, but he got a degree in art and works as the general manager for a motel. His job has a very high turnover, and he's only been there for a year and a half, and he and the regional manager bicker often, and I've seen text from the regional manager threatening to fire him, saying he's the longest employee she'll ever let be the GM, and that if the motel rate doesn't go up on Google, she'll write him up again. He's also expected to cover call-out shifts for that motel and its other location, a city over that's an hour's drive away, for $50,000. He says, "I'm the mom. I'll breastfeed. I'm not sure I will. It's way too hard for him to take care of 2 babies. He can't cook. He expected me to show him how to feed and change them, and we'd be working as a duo, etc. I told him he could learn to cook and that he was going to have to take care of the twins anyway, since even if we both worked, being a parent is a 247 job. He's saying he wants to be a provider and work hard to get a better paying job. I told him he's never believed in that. And even when we were in college and I worked part-time and he worked full-time, we still split the bills evenly because he said he only believed $5,050. So I don't want to expect him to be a provider. I feel so conflicted. I'm so depressed. I'm having twins. If I were just having one, none of this would happen. $2,400 is the average for all the daycares we've been interviewing for twins. We're on the waiting list for $2,800 a month with a spot for both twins available, and that's one thing that caused issues. He says daycare is a waste of money and a scam, and I should just be a stay-at-home mom because I'm the mom. We're still interviewing at other places, but he wants to stop. If I quit and we only had his income to rely on, we would have to downsize everything. We would be dead broke. He says we can move somewhere cheaper, but even in cheaper places, they require 3 times the rent and his alone wouldn't qualify. Plus, it's a worse quality of life to downgrade our home. I don't understand why he's being this way. He said if they were in school, he wouldn't mind, but as babies, it's too hard and they need them on more than their dad. I've told my sisters and parents, and they think he's being so selfish, and considering I'm carrying them, him being a stay-at-home dad is the least he can do. He's saying that I'm an idiot for using his lower pay against him and because I won't do what millions of other moms do and quit their jobs for their babies. He said plenty of women will quit their jobs if they can't afford daycare, and I'm too independent and don't want to be a good mom. He's using what he loved against me. I feel so depressed. I worked hard for my job and did over 300 applications to get it. Am I the idiot here? Not the idiot. Op. Your husband is being ridiculous, but it also doesn't seem like a good choice. My friend's baby was shaken by a father forced to do father responsibilities. I'm not saying your husband would, but I wouldn't be looking at him like the solution. He also can't afford to support all of you. Don't be depressed. You should be happy and excited right now. Some people try for a baby and end up with none. You got to keep looking and maybe expand your search from traditional daycares. Something will come up. I was gonna say this. I would be afraid to leave them with him at this point. I think Op really needs to see a therapist before the babies come. I get she's stressed that it's twins unexpectedly, but saying everything would be fine if it was only one baby. Hope you'd still be married to a man who doesn't care about your personal happiness or the material happiness of his family. You're blaming your baby for being born instead of blaming your husband for shirking his responsibility. I hate to say it, but I agree with the sentiment. If he was gonna try to make more money, he would have done it already, and it sounds like his job is already on the line. I had twins last year and they're very expensive to clothe, feed, etc. Family helps a lot because we too were taken by surprise. At the very least, I would be considering divorce not only because of his attitude, but also because your options for state assistance would be better. So I, 20 female, had planned to meet up with my friend, Jess, 20 female, for coffee. We scheduled this a week ago, and I'd assumed it would be just the two of us. I was excited because it's been a while since we've seen each other. For context, I hate it when my friends bring other people, specifically people I've never met, to hangouts that were originally planned to be just us, especially with no prior notice. All my friends know this. Jess knows this. We met today and she brought this girl, J, 20 female, without notice beforehand. I thought it would be the two of us, so you could imagine my surprise. I really tried to be friendly, but I was visibly annoyed that she didn't keep a word and brought this person, which I didn't know when she implied she wouldn't. Obviously, our conversation was awkward because Jay and I didn't know each other. It was awkward small talk, and I was hoping I'd be able to tell Jess about things going on in my life that I wouldn't tell someone I don't know. Edit, to clarify, nothing serious or severe, just casual life updates you'd usually talk about when catching up with a friend. I was annoyed, so I made up an excuse to leave early, something like I had to study. I told Jess we could hang out next week and left. Jess got angry and blew up my phone with texts about how rude and inconsiderate I was, etc. I originally didn't think I was wrong, but I'm having second thoughts. Am I in the wrong for getting mad at her over this? How often do your friends do this to you that it's become a known thing that you don't like it? Is there some reason your friends have done this so much? I've got moderately bad social anxiety, and I would have also been upset if I met up with a friend and they brought someone else along too. But guess what? That's happened to me lots of times because people are social creatures, and they don't see it as a big deal. The more the merrier and all that. You are the idiot because this was not something to be so upset about that you're rude to them both. It's a minor inconvenience at best. Would it have been so hard to say, "Hey, Jess, I really just wanted to talk just the two of us. Are you free tomorrow?" Instead, you had to be rude because you had to socialize with one extra person at a coffee shop. Grow up, OP. Jess is the idiot for bringing a stranger. If I made coffee plans with a friend and I showed up and they had brought another person along without telling me, I'd be so confused. I can't imagine doing that. At the least, she should have texted you a heads up. But she had better have a really good reason for bringing some random person along. Others who said you were wrong to assume that she would show up alone must not have made plans with friends very often recently. In what world? You're not the idiot for leaving early. It sounds like you were uncomfortable and wanted to go, which was within your right. I, 23 female, and my husband, 22, moved in with my mom over the summer to help my mom with her bills and help take care of my 3 younger siblings. The main reason for this move was that I didn't want her to get back with her boyfriend that she'd been dating on and off for the past 7 or 8 years. Not long after we moved in, she started talking to him again after repeatedly telling me she would never get back together with him. She then goes on to marry him and has taken on this mentality that she is his wife and has responsibilities towards him, so she has to be with him 247, which in turn meant to me and my siblings that we would see her less because he doesn't live with us. Ever since she got married, she's gone directly to him after work, and the only time my siblings see her is in the mornings when she takes them to school. She's not even home during the weekends. Recently, this past weekend, she and I argued over text because my siblings missed their mom and wanted to see her. She then chooses to, instead of coming to see her kids, call them and tell them that she's too busy to see them. And that when she was there, all they did was play video games. But now that she's with her husband, they suddenly miss her and want to spend time with her. This made my siblings sad, naturally making me step in and tell her off. I told her she couldn't be serious right now, and that her children would obviously miss her. Even though they might have a roof over their heads and food, that doesn't mean they don't still need their mother's presence more than just a few minutes in the morning when they're going to school. I told her she couldn't seriously be picking a man who literally has shown he doesn't care about her over her children who do love her. She responded by telling me the same thing she told my siblings when she was with us. They didn't appreciate her and just spend their time playing games. I'm like, be so for real, you're resenting them as if they're not literally children. Where's the energy with that man who's literally done nothing good for us? She's like, oh, so I'm a bad mom. That's fine. You'll regret your words one day. She then hangs up on me and refuses my calls. She texts my sister telling her she's not going to talk to me, so I texted her and told her the one that's going to regret her words is you, and you'll be sorry for picking a man over your children. The day you learn not to put a man on a pedestal is the day you'll get your blessings. It's a serious mental problem to be so attached to a man. I love her, but I know she's not okay by doing what she's doing. She's now no longer talking to me and only contacts my siblings. Am I the idiot or was this a reality check my mom needed? Edit, my siblings are a tween male, a young teen male, and a teen female. For those wondering where their dad is, he's still in the picture, but he also has a new partner. He sometimes visits them once or twice a week and buys them food and clothes. He's supposed to be giving my mom child support, but he's not always very timely about it. I also want to acknowledge that my mom still contributes financially to them. The only issue is that she's not here physically with them as often as she should be. Not the idiot. And, honestly, this sounds like mom planned this all out. The fake breaking up to get you and husband to move back in and take care of her home and her minor-age children. Now she can freely go live with her new husband because you are now running everything. You should not be helping pay bills and raising siblings with your money. She should be paying you. If this were me, I'd tell dear old mom that you and husband are moving back out. You've sent all of our communications between you and the children to the Child Protective Agency, and she needs to handle however this all falls out. How are these minor age being taken care of before you move back in? Who was watching them? Food, needs, homework, doc appointments, etc. then. Or tell her that you are taking her to court using this history and her communication texts as a legal primary caregiver for those 3 underage siblings. You will be taking her to court for general home costs, utilities, child support, etc. It makes me wonder what kind of home life these kids have before you moved in. Sounds like child neglect to me. I agree. Mom needs to pay for all of this, and Op needs to get legal guardianship. If mom breaks up and wants to come back home, Op has no legal standing unless the court gets involved. Mom would just want to move back home and pretend everything was as it was. Please take the legal route on this, become a legal guardian and make her pay. Your siblings and you deserve the financial support they're entitled to, and the mom is obligated to provide. Stop enabling her and report her to CPS. Don't let the youngest suffer 8 more years of neglect.